Welcome to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast, coming to you from the Cargo District Recording Studios in Wilmington, North Carolina, where we discuss the most fascinating topics of life. I'm Tyler Yaw with my co-host, Chris Kellum, and each week we interview a special guest to learn how they acquired their wisdom over a glass of whiskey. So, sit back, pour yourself a glass, and enjoy Whiskey and Wisdom.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast. This week, it's just my boy Tyler and myself here with one of my original friends from the Buckle, Miss Cassi.
What's up?
Wait, what's your last name now?
Cullen.
Cullen. She's not a vampire. She's not sparkling. I just saw her outside, so don't worry about that. But yeah, we decided to bring her in, and we're doing an early morning episode to get her catch around her kid time and her opening of her business. So we're not drinking whiskey, but we are partaking in some Blue Cup Roastery pieces.
Shout out to Blue Cup, who's also in the Cargo District with us, and so they are visited often.
Yes. And I mean, obviously they all have Blue Cups, and we kind of mix it up. Tyler's doing a cappuccino. Cassie's got a
honey latte.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That sounds good.
That's good.
You just sweeten it with normal milk. Is that what you're supposed to do?
Just milk and honey.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds actually good. I might drink that. And I'm over here drinking an Earl Grey. Not my favorite Grey, but I mean,
what's your favorite Grey?
Actually, I love Lady Grey. No one knows about that one, but it's more floral. It's sweeter.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the play on Lady versus the Earl. It's more of a bright tea. Sure. Definitely more of a midday. But yeah, that's what we're drinking on.
Yeah, breaking down the coffee and tea reviews today.
Mixing it up. So cheers. Don't burn your tongue.
Cheers.
Have fun.
Cheers.
I missed the clink of the glass.
I know. That's hot. Is it not? Is your coffee not hot?
No, it's hot.
Oh, make sure I'm not. So, like I said, I know Cassi from my days working at Buckle. And oddly enough, I know her husband since before Buckle.
ECU.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
That was a very interesting day when I realized who her husband was. Boyfriend at the time. I was like, oh, I never would have put those two and two together. But Cassi.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, where do I start? I grew up between North Carolina and California, had divorced parents, and one lived on one side of the coast and one lived on the other.
Oh, my goodness.
Talking about a crazy accent. I say I grew up bi-coastal, so I grew up flying back and forth between the two of them. And yeah, so love North Carolina, specifically Wilmington. Obviously chose to live here after school. And I am married to my husband, Matt, who is wonderful. And we have two kids, Sebastian and Airly, who's going through the terrible fours. They tell you it's terrible threes, but just wait until 4. And Sebastian, he's 3 months old. And then I have my business, Wrightsville Ave Boutique, which is like my dream job, and yeah, just out here trying to keep up with life.
I'm going to steal Chris's random question before we get too far into the rest of your story. What was the biggest difference between both of the coasts living on, especially flying back and forth? And why did you choose the East Coast?
Well, the West Coast is a lot more expensive. That
That's
might
true.
be the biggest difference. No, I was younger living over there, so I couldn't really tell you the biggest difference in the people or anything like that, but I just have always felt super drawn to Wilmington for whatever reason. My grandmother actually grew up in Wilmington, and we didn't grow up, I didn't grow up visiting here or anything like that, but she has a house had a house right on Church Street. And she said she used to bike to Wrightsville Beach and rent the paddle boats. Her and her friends would save up allowances and to make a quarter to rent the paddle boats at Greenfield Lake and paddle around. That was like their fun things to do. So I've just always felt super connected to Wilmington as a place versus California, my mom living there. That was just where we had lived, but I never had any personal connection to it.
I see.
So where did you go to college? Did you go to college?
So I was going to Cape Fear, and when we were working together at Buckle, and then our boss at the time, Jordan, recruited me into the management training program there. So it was either, I remember calling my dad and I'm like, could go to UNCW or I can do this MT program. And I loved Buckle at the time. I mean, that's how I met you too, Tyler, is your wife shopped in there, you know?
Right, yeah.
But, you know, it's like in my DNA to shop and work in retail. I really believe that. So I loved Buckle, and it made sense for me at the time to just go ahead and make the move over to the MT program.
That's one of the things that I love about those type of programs, especially if it's something you're passionate about. And we've talked about it with Chris Leco as well, too. Yeah. If you can find an area that you enjoy and that you love and you can see yourself thriving in, let someone else pay for that education.
Well, yeah.
And get paid to learn about it. I mean, it's one of the best of both worlds there.
Absolutely. I mean, I probably now having my own business, my little sister Summer, we're an 11-year age gap, and she wants to do the same kind of thing. And I'm like, go get a marketing degree, because I've already got like the retail experience and, you know, I know how to do that side of things and the customer service, which I did learn 90% of from my time at Buckle, but we could use help on the marketing side. So there's something to be said for having an education. At the time, I didn't know I was going to school for accounting. So I don't know how much that would have helped me, you know?
Exactly.
It's always so interesting because like all these people are complaining. They're like, oh, hey, you know, we don't want to pay off kids' college loans. I'm like, but there's so many things that force you into college. And then there's options like you got, I mean, that not a lot of places offer. Like the MT program, I think is one of the things that Buckle did, which was smart and good to like train people up. But I also think some degrees are needed in the world.
Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have the job I had if I wouldn't have gone to school forever and spent a lot of money doing that.
Well, and you know, your experience, it's important. I mean, I still feel like I got the college experience. When I lived in Greenville, I was like right beside ECU's campus. So tailgating and doing all the fun things there, you know, and I think the experience of college and getting out on your own, it's so important. But yeah, if an opportunity comes up and you already kind of know what path you want to take, then take the opportunity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when did you figure out that you wanted to open up your own boutique? Because I know you were with Buckle for a while.
So I was probably about 2 or 3 years old when I realized that. Oh, no, seriously, though, when other kids were like playing teacher or house, I was playing store. I say it's in my DNA. I've always wanted to do that. And it's changed a couple times. You know, when I got my first dog, it was going to be a dog boutique. And then my best friend was going to open a hair salon next door. You know, I mean, you come up with all these ideas. And then I did feel a little defeated. I think Wilmington has some great boutiques here, especially for women's clothing. And so I was kind of deflated and not wanting to take the risk to open my own, because I'm like, there's already so much here. How am I going to stand out and how am I going to be different? But I had Airly. She was about 6 months old when I opened the store, and I was ordering so much of her stuff online because Southern stuff, the smock, traditional children's clothes are just not my style. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not really what I was looking for her. And so I'm like, man, I'm ordering so much online. There's got to be a store here for that. And there wasn't. I was shocked. There's like nowhere else to shop for your kids. Yeah. So I felt like I had a niche that wasn't filled. And then I'm like, you know, as a mom, I kind of know what moms want and what your body changes after kids. And so that helped me shopping for the women's portion of our store. And it just kind of made sense. And I felt like there was a need for it. So it pushed me into going ahead and going for it.
Yeah, that niche that you found there with mostly newer moms, with pairing like the mom's clothing with the kids' clothing, I think was genius too, because like my wife can't go in without spending like tons of money in there, because it's like, well, if I get this for her, but I want to match her, and that whole entire thing too. And even as a husband, like it's hard to be like, no, I don't want you both to look nice. Like, what are you going to say, right?
Yeah, well, you know, I think our biggest spending customers are probably the dads or the men that come in shopping for their wives. And then I'm like, but I do have this for your daughter. And I mean, there's not a dad in the world that can say no to a cute outfit for his little girl, you know, or even for little boys.
You know, that's a good point. I think I've spent more money in there than Jennifer has. So,
I mean, I've spent plenty in there.
Yeah, but you don't even have kids.
No, I don't. So like people assume, two fun things. One, it's called Wrightsville Ave Boutique. It is not on Wrightsville Ave.
Don't get lost.
Just so people know, because I was like, oh, let me go find this. Because I used to live on Wrightsville Ave, and I'm like, girl, where's your shop at? She's like, where's it?
On Racine.
Yep.
But
It doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, Racine, when people Google here, when you're here visiting, you're going to Google Wrightsville boutiques. So, you got to, there's a little bit of give and take there.
You say you don't know anything about marketing, but look at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, eventually she'll just have a shop in the cargo district too, like everybody else. Because we're at the end of Wrightsville Avenue.
That is true.
You never know. You never know. I really have no desire to have a second location. The ultimate dream would be to have like our own clothing line that comes out of the store. But I'm like very big into sustainable clothing and, all the using the right fabrics. But I also want to keep it true to ourselves where it's a good price point.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of logistics to figure out there.
But I like that you have like a goal.
Yeah.
Like you've hit, because you're like, hey, I want to open up my own boutique, but you still have the next. It's not like you're not settling. We were talking about this the other day. It's like you always have a goal in life. And then once you hit it, like what is pushing you to go to the next point?
Yeah. Well, I just recently, since I've opened the store, I've never really taken time off. Maybe like a couple of days here and there, but I had to because I had Sebastian. And so I ended up taking off almost like probably, I think it was about 10 weeks. And so I had to have the right girls in place to run the business. And I'm like, I really feel like I have the dream team over there. They're amazing and they're the right fit. And so now that I know the store is okay if I'm not in there, I can start to, kind of shift my focus and look at some other things, try to make it bigger and better,
Yes. I think it's really funny too, because you open the boutique as like what people like a mommy and me, like a kind of boutique where it's like mothers getting clothes and then their kids matching. And I know originally it was mostly like little girl stuff. And now you got the boy stuff because you got to get Sebastian some cool clothing. But people who aren't moms can find really great stuff there too. Yeah.
Well, so we're known for having the mommy and me matching stuff, but majority of our stuff, that's something else I would credit to like my time working at Buckles. We styled people so much. So I style a ton of family photo shoots and we do have that select few things. I think Jennifer, last time she was in, got like an identical matching outfit. That's really cute. And you can't find those anywhere else. But a lot of times our matching stuff comes from coordinating things that aren't even the same brand or anything else. It's just being able to put it together for people so that, they look nice. When the whole family's together, everybody kind of coordinates.
And that's why I spend a lot of money because, like working at Buckle, I work in jewelry now. So people always look at me weird when I'm like, when a guy walks up and says, oh, hey, why are you only wearing one bracelet? You should have 3 of them and you have alternating colors. So it kind of goes with any outfit. What? I'm like, working at Buckle, you learn how to properly style somebody. And yes, layers work, but not all the time. Right. So you got to know how to properly do it. And anytime I go into the boutique and Cassie's like, what do you want? I'm like, Emily needs an outfit. And so then I'm stuck in there because I can never just I'm not the guy who's like, oh, I'll just buy a shirt. I'm like, well, she needs at least 2 shirts and this needs
cardigan.
I'm like, I got to match up everything.
Well, the other reason why I like to come in too and why I spend money there is if I decide to like buy like clothing for Jennifer, I have no clue what she's going to like, to be completely honest. So I can just go in there and be like, so I'm looking something for Jennifer.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because like, her style perfectly and everything, and you pick everything out and you know what size she is for the most part. And she comes in, I put everything in the bag and bring it home, and she loves it all. So.
Yeah. And, so we have a system set up that we can actually like look up their purchase history. So you think that I'm like this magic magician that remembers all their sizes, but I actually have it saved in our system. But it helps because now that we have a full team, and if I'm not in there, which I'm still there most days, but when I did take a step back, these girls, they're styling people that I've been styling for the last, 10, 12 years, and they're coming in looking for me, expecting that same service. So now we have some other magicians in the shop too that know everyone's sizes.
It's amazing the magic of notes.
Yes.
Right. In my job too, we have notes as well. Like when you're talking with another advisor and you come and call and he's not there and you get me, and just being able to pick up where the last person left off is just something that means a lot to a lot of people, and that's what you've been able to do. So even if it is notes and everything in there because no one can remember everything, it's just those extra touches because a lot of other boutiques don't do that, or they won't take the time to pull up the notes.
Right. Yeah.
So it is taking that extra time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what keeps people shopping local. It's, I mean, our prices are more expensive than Target and more expensive than Belk, or the other retailers you go to, but your experience going into a shop is so different. And I can tell you guys, I don't know if you've ever seen the memes that are like, when you place an online order, someone in a small business is doing a happy dance, but it's literally like that. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I check my email to see like if any online orders came through, and still, I mean, we get several a week right now, and every single time I'm like, Matt, another online order, it's like the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we talked about that on I guess it's the last podcast, and like voting with your dollars type of thing. Like you can choose to keep that $1 in the community or $1.50 in the community when you could have spent $1 at Target, but keeping it in the community means so much more. And the value that you gave to that business owner is so much more than giving it to a Target.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even, I mean, I could get on a soapbox, talk about it, something I could talk about forever. But even if you're, even just if you're going to shop at Target, still do it local because it's still supporting our local people, versus, and if you're going to order online, order the 2-hour pickup, I mean, support like your people who are locally staffed even versus ordering everything on Amazon and, who even knows who you're supporting at that point.
Yeah. That's something else I talk about too. Like when, like no one thinks about the people that work in the Walmarts or work in the Verizons and stuff. Like I used to work for Verizon when I was in high school. So if you ordered it online, you're literally getting it from the corporate facility for the most part. And if you came in, you were supporting me because I got commission from that, and and that fed my family. Yeah. So same thing. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I mean, we know that working off commission when we work together, and if people order online and then they come in the store to return, and you're like, no, why didn't you come in here to begin with? So, and I think a lot of it isn't people just like choosing not to. I think a lot of times people just genuinely don't know.
But like trailing from the online, it's always good to be able to have that and support local businesses. But I think it's also cool that you've trained your team, or I know when we work together, like how to convert that person who's like, well, I bought this online, I want to return it. Like having the mentality of converting somebody from an online only person to like, I want to come shop in person, because I know that you have an eye and you have the true mindset of like how to put this together, because I'm returning it because it doesn't fit. Well, of course it doesn't fit because you decided to buy a large, which is a Japanese like XL. And so like coming in person, I feel like adds to the ceremony.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's a relationship too. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the statistic, but like 90% of your business comes from 10% of your customers. And it's so true, and our little shopping center that we're in, we have Midtown Nutrition on one side of us and then the Tap Tea Bar on the other. So it's kind of like a social event, you go get your tea or your shake and then you walk over and you shop and we talk. And I mean, I have people come in literally just to talk, and then they walk, they're like, oh man, this sweater's cute. All right, I'll grab this really quick. And then they're out the door, but it's a relationship that you build. I genuinely don't feel like I'm going back to work when every morning it's like, I can't wait to get there. That's why it's taken you so long to get me over here. Cause I'm like, I could be at my store, doing fun stuff.
Yes. Cassi was invited to come on pretty much like when we started the podcast.
Like since inception, yeah.
But she is just that busy. Like obviously she was pregnant at the front end and took time off, and then it's just been so hard to get all our schedules aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the passion that you have for it too. I think that's the most telling is, like you said, you don't want to spend time outside of the store because you love being in it so much.
Yeah, that's been really interesting. So when I had Airly, I was managing the Victoria's Secret in Mayfair at the time. And they actually, shout out to Victoria's Secret for nothing other than a 16-week paid maternity leave, which was wonderful.
Sheesh.
It was, I've never even heard of that. That's genuinely the only good thing that they do for their employees. But anyways, no shade on Victoria's Secret. But it was so hard to go back to work after that. And, I cried dropping Airly off at daycare, but you get hooked on this paycheck and kind of become dependent on it, especially if you put your kids into daycare of some sort. And so I had to go back, and it was really sad. It was really hard on me, which was another reason I ended up opening up the store. I'm like, I need a little bit more flexibility in my schedule. I love what I do, working retail, and really not Victoria's Secret at the time, but I had considered going to other retailers, but you work such a crazy schedule and it makes it really hard to be a mom, which is something else that I'm super invested in. So when I had Sebastian, and taking time off from the store was kind of hard because I feel like the store is almost like my third child,
Yeah.
And so I'm like at home doing online stuff, and I would take him into the store with me, but when I did end up moving him over to daycare, it was a little bit easier transition. One, because it's the same place I took Airly to, and they're really sweet, but also because I knew where I was investing my time, and that's really an investment in his future as well,
Something I wanted to ask you about coming on here too is, well, first of all, I just give you major props for opening a boutique, because that is extremely frightening to me. And I'm sure it was for you too. But the reason why is the inventory part, because all of the business that I've ever started, sold, quit, whatever, have all been service, because I've never wanted to sit on inventory. So how was managing the inventory, and don't give away your secrets, of course, but like how do you find what you're going to have in there, and how do you kind of determine if it's going to sell through?
That's a good question. So when I first opened, it's so funny to look back now, and I'm like, I don't know how on earth I sold that. I'm like, some of the stuff I had, because I had no experience on the buying side.
Right.
And so I started out by what brands did I love for my daughter. So one of my biggest brands that I carry is Riley & Crew. And I just DM'd them on Instagram, I think. And I'm like, hey, I'm starting a store. And I just bugged the crap out of people to get the right, who do I email? How do I get through to someone? And so we picked up Riley & Crew. And if you Google wholesale women's clothing companies, you're going to get the China knockoffs that you can actually order on Amazon for as cheap as you're paying for them wholesale. So it really started by choosing what brands I loved, and then reaching out to them and hoping that they would let me sell, because it's actually kind of hard to get brands. These brands that have a built up reputation don't want to just be in any store.
Spot.
Yeah. So I have another friend who's about to open a shop, and a lot of brands are like, well, you have to be open for a certain amount of time before we'll even consider you, which is, getting your footing is kind of hard. But once we opened, then you start to see what sells.
Right. And
you do start to build up kind of the brands. I feel like Riley & Crew wasn't really that well known when I first started. And now people come in and they're, when we have a drop, especially in the summertime, because people shop the matching swimsuits.
Oh, yeah.
So when we have a Riley & Crew drop, we know that the store is going to be popping that morning,
Wow. Yeah.
And then I analyze the reports and see what's selling, and then order from there.
Yeah, very good.
I think that's, I always think about that too, because where I'm at currently, I know our company has buyers, and that's all their job is to analyze reports and see it. But I feel like you have to wear both hats, because buyers are just like, oh, hey, this sold, so we should order it again. And this sold, or that didn't sell, so we don't need to order it. But being in the storefront, you can actually see, oh, did this get any touches on it? Did someone actually debate it? They didn't like the fit of it. And you can actually process a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and you have a lot more control when you're in the storefront, because I can have a top sitting on a rack for a year, literally a year. And then if it's not selling, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to wear this. I'm going to post it on Instagram. I'm going to style it. And then when people see it on, and, it kind of creates that excitement around the product. So sometimes getting through inventory is just something as simple as me deciding that we've got to move that inventory, but yeah.
So talking about styling, did the girls, I'm assuming they're all female type or femix, I don't know, that work with you, did they have a styling background when they came to you, or did you kind of help educate them? Because you said even when you're not in the store, they do a really great job of helping people. Because I know everyone styles things differently. Even between me and you,
right?
We worked with the same customer, and they'd come in, they're like, I want this kind of outfit, so I'm going to talk to Cassie, or if they want a different style, they'll come talk to me.
Yeah, for sure. It still is about the same. So the girls that I have working for me, none of them have a styling background. One was a teacher, which, I feel like every teacher right now is pretty much, you hear about them all going to different career paths. But one was a teacher, no, not all of them are moms. I was going to say all of them are moms, but one of them is my little sister, Summer. And she's like who does most of the modeling for us. So if you're being styled by Summer, you're most likely getting like a younger, she's, young and fresh and super excited, where I'm a little bit more mature. I'm probably not going to wear a crop top and, the same kind of things that she would. But they're all educated on looking at women's body types and asking the right questions to understand, like, what are you going to feel comfortable in, And I pretty regularly try on the clothes and post them on Instagram. And I kind of talk through that. And our girls all watch our Instagram stories. So they kind of know the fit of things, or, what type of body they would fit, because I talk about that on Instagram. When I'm educating the customers, I'm educating our team at the same time.
That was another thing I feel like I picked up, or you picked up from Buckle. It's like, when I was there, before they even let you like sell to people, it's like, you need to try on every one of these things to know how it would fit or who it would fit. And then we'd sit back and be like, all right, so explain this. Like, how does that fit on you? How do you think it would fit on somebody else to properly get to the right client? Yeah,
for sure. And we have all different body types. Summer is like 10 feet taller than me and half my size. And then we have Savannah, who's really petite. And then you have Jenna, who is, just like a full figured woman. And it's interesting to see how different clothes fit on different people, So, and I think our customer appreciates that. I have Katie, who's she's actually my cousin, but she's about a size 10. And she'll do try-on hauls for us. I ship her clothes to try them on because it's so well received by our customer base, because they're like, you can look at stuff on a size 2 all day, but really, realistically, if you're not a size 2, that doesn't really help you.
No.
Right.
So being able to see it on someone who's more like the normal woman's body is very helpful. And so, so I'll ship Katie packages, and she does try-on hauls, and it works for both of us because 90% of the time she wants all the things she tried on.
Good marketing.
Yeah. So it's just helpful. It's kind of all hands on deck with that.
I love that. I'm like, I'll totally volunteer.
I don't know if you're our customer base, Chris.
I'll volunteer Emily to do a try-on haul for you.
Oh, yeah.
We're part of the 75 hard is like, you have to take a progress picture every day. And she's so nice about it. Like, she's always smiling, and I'm just like, and I'm like, yes, I could smile, but I just feel like being all the time in our photos. Too. But I feel like we get through all this, and I can eventually, then hopefully I'll get back into wanting to be in front of the camera. So then we can eventually like build something up and, get some people to send us some clothes, because I'd love her to.
Oh, I would love it.
Get discounts on clothing.
Yeah.
I don't want free stuff. I just would like a discount.
Yeah. Have her come in and do a try-on haul.
Don't tempt me. Random question, because I always have at least one. When opening your business, because we were talking about this the other week, and because you actually own it, do you see people who literally come in and are like, oh, this is cute, can I get a discount?
I don't, and I really don't have very many people ask for discounts. If they do, they're people who don't know me, really. So, and it's not, I would love, honestly, to be able to give everyone that I know a discount. But if I did that, I'd be discounting 100% of my clothes. Because especially when you're first starting out a small business, your supporters are your friends and family. So if you're giving everyone a discount, you're not going to survive. So no, I don't. And maybe one day we'll be a big enough company that I'll have like a friends and family discount. But for right now, those are the people I depend on. And we really... you've shopped in there, so you know kind of what our price points are like. We really don't set our margins very big because I want it to be fair pricing. I want the average mom, the average woman to be able to walk into our store, and if they love something, to be able to buy it without being like, can I buy that, or can I go out to dinner this weekend? Yeah. So I really don't have a huge margin on our clothes to be able to discount them. If I did discount them, I'd have to mark them up a little bit more to for the discount,
See, and thank you for saying that, because a lot of people assume that everything's marked up so high that you can discount it. But I feel like if you have a good product and you price it right, there's no need or space for a discount.
Well, yeah, that was a huge eye opener for me when I first opened the business, because I just assumed, which I think most people do, that, when you buy something wholesale, it's so cheap. You're like, well, you get jeans for $10 and you sell them for $70, but that's really not the case. So most of any of our big name brands that you see, so like Riley & Crew, Feather for Arrow, Fox and the Mermaid, those prices are set. I don't set those prices. And normally, if it ever gets marked down on sale, you're probably paying less for it than I did. Because in order to carry those big name brands and have that draw into your store, which is what those do, people know Riley & Crew or they know Fox and Mermaid, so they're coming to your store to buy that. I'm still paying a pretty premium price too for it.
Yeah, you're essentially paying their marketing costs and everything for it on top of it. And I don't think people realize that. And Buckle is very similar to where I came from with Hillsburg Diamonds, is like you provide quality and you provide a service. So you don't get a discount on that. You're buying what you're buying.
Well, yeah. And, there's brands out there and there's boutiques out there. You can go, like when I went to Atlanta in February, there are brands that you can get huge margins on, which is really tempting.
Right.
But then you run the risk of people going home and washing something and then it doesn't fit right after, or it tears up after a couple wears, their zipper broke or whatever. And we have that happen, sure, occasionally, but I'm able to take it back. I mean, probably shouldn't say this out loud. We have a really flexible return policy, but because I stand behind the products that we sell, I'm not going to sell you something that's a piece of crap. So if it falls apart, one, I'm reaching out to the brand that sold it to me, but also I'm always going to take it back because I don't want our customers thinking I'm trying to sell them, a $1 shirt for $20.
Yeah. And it probably doesn't happen often. So you probably can afford to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather take the hit and the customer be happy than send somebody away. I don't want anyone to spend $100 with me that they don't want to spend,
Right. Yeah. There's when I went to school originally, I went for operations, and some of the best service companies that are out there, one of their guarantees is if you don't get the service that you're expecting, they will pay you $100. So you get your full refund and then they pay you $100 on top of it. And people think like, oh, or well, aren't people going to abuse this? But it's actually less than 1% that are going to reach out and say like, hey, I had this horrible service. And that's that one time like fluke that something crazy happened. Because if you get good service, you're not trying to screw over the company that gave you good service.
Well, yeah, for sure. You want that company to stay in business, And it also, I mean, like I said before, most of our customers are repeat customers that stick with us for a long time, and I have a relationship with them. So, I'm always going to make sure they're taken care of.
Right.
Yes. It reminds me, because school has started, I have to come see you. I always forget. I'm like, oh, wait, school started. And typically that's when I do, like, most people do back to school shopping. And I'm like, once you're in school, then I'll do the shopping. Because I know seasons change and I know how product rotates. And if I really wanted her back to school stuff, I probably should have bought it in July.
Good point.
If anyone doesn't know, aren't most of your clothes, are you still like a season before? Or are you trying to actually be in the season?
So we order everything. I'm currently ordering right now for spring and summer 2023. So we order everything very far in advance, which honestly, I like it. We're just coming off of spring and summer. The stuff that I'm currently marking down and trying to get out the door to make room for all of our winter product is educating me on what to buy for next year. And it's nice because it's on the top of my mind. So I kind of prefer it that way. But yeah, we start being in Wilmington, it's so hot. So a lot of times I'll have relationships with these brands that I work with. You work through someone who represents them. I can ask them to like hold sweaters for me until late August or whatever, so that we're not getting stuff before we even have like a chilly morning,
Right.
Gosh, that was the worst. Like, I always remembered when I worked at Buckle and it was like, oh, hey, all your bathing suits drop into February. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no one wants a bathing suit. Or we get all the leather jackets the second week of August. And nobody in Wilmington is going to buy a leather jacket until November
December.
2nd.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to sell that stuff. So I mean, that's another thing being in business for a little bit longer is you do start to build those relationships, and the people that I'm working with know the store well enough to know when we want things. So we'll set it up to different drops because newness is what drives our business, you know? So when I post, we got a new shipment in, people are really excited to come in. Now, if I post, we got sweaters in July, nobody is excited to come in and shop with those. And then by the time that it's sweater season, they're not new anymore. They've already seen those. It's not exciting. Yeah. So yeah, our brands for the most part will hold them unless there's something that's really, really special. And I know that it'll sell out before then, or the brand's already sold out of them and they're going to let me get a few in July. I'll go ahead and hold it in the back room until I think it'll sell.
I just think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The randomness that is Chris, because I always have random thoughts and questions throughout the day. When it comes to picking out kids' clothing, which do you prefer?
The boy or the girl clothing? Yeah. You know, little girls, there's so much cute stuff for them. You know, you've got the bows, and I mean, Airly gets so excited if I get her a dress and it has a matching purse or whatever. You know, I mean, girls love that stuff. Yeah. So I enjoy all the different pieces that work together for little girls. But because little boys' clothing is so hard to find, really, really cute, when you get something or I see something and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest, I get more excited over that because there's an abundance of cute girls stuff out there. Mm-hmm. And there's not for little boys. I think that's what's really built our business and why we're growing this year is because I've really tapped into that boy mom market. And there's like nowhere to shop for cute boys clothes.
Yeah. No.
So, and also again, I mean, knowing like the little tube socks are really cool for little boys, and hats. I mean, cool little boys hats. And then we get them that match with dad, or, you know, if dads want to, it's kind of fun. So little boy stuff, I probably get more excited when I've a good piece, but I find more little girls cool pieces.
My son Roman has loved the hats that I brought home from your store.
Yeah. We sell a ton of hats. We have pretty much like a hat wall now at this point.
I was surprised. I didn't expect your answer to be that.
Well, also having a little boy now makes a difference, you know, because I want him dressed really cute all the time. And my daughter, you would think she would be dressed to the nines, but she was all the way up until, I told you guys, Forest Hard. We just went to her school orientation, and she was probably the only child in her little friends group that wasn't wearing clothes from our store because she was wearing high heels and a princess dress. So I probably get more excited over the little boys too, because my little boy still lets me dress him versus my daughter, who she just has a mind and a style all her own.
At least she does have her own style, though.
Yeah. It's really something.
Sure.
Yeah.
The pause.
I'm trying to think, if she ever listens to this, how can I be kind, you know?
I mean, she's got a couple years for sure, actually, unless you listen to this in the car.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back a little bit. You opened right before COVID?
Yeah.
Was it October?
Yeah, so we opened October strategically, knowing that we would be going into the holiday season. So October continuously, year after year, is our biggest month for us, which is kind of crazy. Normally, you would think that would be like November, December. Yeah. October is always our busiest month. And I think it's because we have like an anniversary party and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we opened in October 2019. And I guess it was maybe March. We closed the doors because COVID. And it was truthfully like one of the scariest times of my life, because Matt and I took pretty much all of our savings to open the store. We're debt free, hallelujah. But that was like one of our requirements. But yeah, so all of our money's tied up in a clothing store and an inventory, and we were closed, and that was scary. So I really got comfortable on social media. And again, friends and family will like get you through anything. And Wilmington is such a special place because people do want to shop and support local. And I remember I was going in the store, you know, Airly's school's closed, and I was taking her in there with me, and we were closed because we had to be. Mm-hmm. But people would still be out in the shopping center and knock on the door and be like, you know, hey, are you guys open? Can I come in and shop? Can I order online? Like, how can I help you get through the pandemic? You know, it was like such a humbling, but also special thing to experience that people that don't even know me or, had never shopped our store before were trying to make sure that local businesses were staying afloat. So,
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we had orders from, friends and family all over the country that were just trying to help us get through it. And we did. We made it through it. We were only closed, I think, maybe like 2 or 3 months. And then there was like the weird, everyone's scared to shop and scared to spend money and scared about what's going to happen. But yeah, on the other side of it, I'm like, now going through that, anything that's coming our way, I'm like, well, if we can survive COVID in our first year of business, surely we can survive this, So it gave us a backbone and kind of prepared us.
Yeah. It was sad to see how many businesses closed, but I think that was also an opportunity for the people that you could tell really wanted it.
Well, and I think I was so fortunate that we were new, which sounds crazy, but I didn't have a huge staff. I didn't have a ton of inventory because we had just opened. So our inventory was a lot smaller than it is now. And our company that we leased the building from was so kind to say that we could defer our rent for 1 month, in which case both rents would be due. So they didn't really help us out a ton, but no, I didn't have a staff to pay. And I was still doing most things solo. I had 2 girls that worked for me at the time, but they were so part-time. It was kind of a take it or leave it kind of thing. So it really helped us through versus, I don't know. A lot of the businesses that closed were bigger businesses that were used to doing bigger numbers.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And you do order now at this point, I order everything so far in advance. At the time I was just like treading water, trying to stay afloat. So I was ordering things on an as needed basis. So I didn't have all these shipments piling up and unable to sell them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You don't think about things like that.
I feel like we were really lucky. Our neighbors, Lula Baloo, shout out to Lucy and her team. She actually has 2 stores and she's been doing this forever. She does an amazing job at it. And she's like, girl, I'm getting shipments every day and we weren't even open, know?
So they're just piling up.
Yeah. And it's just, you're having to spend all this money and a lot of times I don't even remember half the stuff I ordered at market. You go and you have a budget, but you kind of have it laid out, but you don't really know 100% what to expect. So you're getting packages and it's charging your card. It charges you when it ships. And so that was I know that was hard on them.
Yeah. Couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
Your door closed, but your credit card's still chinging.
Yeah. Yeah. Stressful process for sure.
How was it going to Atlanta and doing all of the shopping and stuff down there? Do you find it like exciting and exhilarating, or is it just like an extra thing to put on your list?
I love it. I wish I could go every day. I'm going this Friday to a smaller market in Charlotte, and I'd love to be able to go to the Denver markets and even like Magic in Vegas. It would be so much fun, but it's interesting balancing being a mom because I am very present with my children. So leaving them and going somewhere for more than a day or 2 is still really hard on me.
I get it.
So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, I just order through, my brands already kind of know my style. I can do like Zoom meetings, but if I have an opportunity to go to market and it aligns with me having, my mom or my mother-in-law come help with the kids for 2, then I'll definitely take the opportunity. I love it. It definitely recharges me. It makes me excited. And it's the easiest way to find new brands.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like 14 floors and probably thousands of vendors. So
I didn't realize it's the breadth of that.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I could kind of guess that is because CES, which is like the tech world equivalent to like market, is in Vegas in January most years, and that thing is massive. And then Swiss,
I was gonna say,
like the watch industry, they've actually split it up into I think 2 shows now.
Yeah,
but before it literally was like 3 floors of a convention center in Switzerland that like it's dedicated to it, and every person, like every company, had a full build out. Like I'm like, you guys just literally built a 3,000 square foot apartment in this place, and it's just, we're showcasing like 8 watches this year.
Yeah, just for the week.
Yeah, it's craziness. So But there's so many clothing brands.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of clothing brands and there's a lot of boutiques. I was like shocked when I was there. I went with my friend Sarah and we were shocked like how many boutique owners there are than how many people are there shopping at market. I mean, I expected it to not be that busy, but it's kind of like Black Friday.
Wow.
Especially if you are shopping, they have like the fast fashion is what you would call it. You know, your brands that have bigger margins, but cost a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
Those floors are absolutely insane. And each floor that you go up kind of gets a little bit more expensive. So it kind of weeds out some of that. But yeah, I was shocked how many different stores. You know, there's like 1,000 boutique owners walking down the hallway with you and everybody looks different and has different styles, but we're all there doing the same thing. So it's kind of cool.
So we are coming to the end, unfortunately, because you do probably have to get across town and open your store up.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess we do have to ask our last question for you. So if you were to tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
You know, I'll share the advice that I share with my little sister.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just have to really live each phase of life to the fullest. Mm-hmm. So you have to, you know, when you're a kid, be a kid. When you're in college, I mean, just party it up, kiss all the boys, you know, do what you want to do, have all the late nights, really live it up so then you can appreciate what your next stage of life is. And right now I'm in the stage of life of being a mom and I'm trying to really live it up and give that 100% so that when that phase of life passes, I can appreciate the next phase.
I love that.
You know, I don't think anyone said that yet.
I don't think so. I was thinking that too. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
So, all right, Cass. So, because we know you're on the boutique, where can people find you guys on the interwebs?
Oh, you can find us on Instagram, Wrightsville Ave Boutique. You can find us online, wrightsvilleave.com. We're on Facebook, but I'm not the best. We're on TikTok, but I'm a little old for that. So I'm just trying to keep up.
But Summer posts TikToks.
Summer does post TikToks. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's the nice thing about having her around. Yeah. So you can find us on all social media platforms. Instagram's where we're the most active, on our website. And then, of course, I would love for people to stop in and shop with us in the store.
And where are you guys at?
We're on Wrightsville Avenue. We're on Racine Drive, right by Midtown Nutrition and Blue Surf Cafe.
Nice. And if you're like me, it's the section before Islands Tacos.
Or if you're like me, it's right before Mall.
So for the healthy people as well as the alcoholics and for the people who just like cheap tacos. That's how I afford it. I just buy cheap tacos.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely go check out Cassi and her team over at Wrightsville Ave Boutique. Like I said, they have some of the coolest stuff each season, and I legit am in there at least once a season to buy something for Emily. Great way to, you know, buy a gift card, or if you need help for the moms to be, because I know I got a lot of friends who are popping out kids. So she has some really cool stuff. Definitely check them out. Thank you guys for listening, supporting us. Please leave a lovely 5-star review. Like I say all the time, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But I mean, there are exceptions.
But still leave 5 stars.
Yes.
Right. Leave 5 stars and give us a message on a DM on Instagram and give us the criticism there.
But yeah, thank you for coming on, Cass.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.